Welcome back, All Things MSP crew. We have another vendor update for you today, and this is a special one because this is from a brand new vendor sponsor. They are a premier sponsor of All Things MSP, so we really do hope that you'll check them out, and we really do appreciate their support for what we do here at All Things MSP. And of course, I am talking about Helpt. And today from Helpt, I have David Sohn. David, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, Eric. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a great Friday here at All Things MSP, and I don't know what day this is going to come out, but we're recording this on a Friday, and it's a little nippy here in North Carolina, but that's okay because I like a little bit of cold weather every once in a while.
I love it. I love it. Looks like you've got plenty of books back there to cuddle up to.
I
Stay
do.
warm. What types of things are you reading right now?
So right now I'm in the middle of a book called Feel Good Productivity
Okay.
by Ali Abdal. He's a doctor turned YouTuber turned productivity guru.
Wow.
And really interesting stuff about not trying to use productivity to get everything done, but making sure you're using productivity to make yourself feel good and happy with your life.
I like that. Okay, so that sounds like a business book. What about personal stuff? Are you reading anything just for funsies?
So currently queued in my Audible for fun is John Carter from Mars, the entire series.
Holy moly.
And I just started it in, about 2 weeks ago, I think,
Wow.
and really loving it. I love the old Tarzan books and everything. So this is kind of a science fiction bend on that.
Cool.
So really excited.
I watched the movie and I think like everybody else, I was kind of bummed out about the movie, but I
Yeah.
heard that the book was so much better. So I think that'll have to end up on my list as well.
Yep. So how about you?
Oh, I am reading through the Red Rising series. So that's the one where kind of a Mars theme as well. There's a kind of a miner that ends up working their way up through the ranks to kind of do some espionage and just disrupt the system. And so it's fun. There's 3 books. I'm on the second one right now. Oh, sorry. There's like 5 or 6 books, 3 in the core trilogy. I'm on the second one.
Okay. I recognize the title because I believe my son is in the middle of those as well.
Yes, awesome. Okay. So he probably knows Darrow, who is the main protagonist. I find myself reading a lot of books that I should have been reading when I was younger because they're the most fun to read.
Well, I will have to ask him more about it. He's coming home for the weekend,
Nice,
or at least he's going to be here probably for, at least to pick up some stuff because
fantastic.
he's at NC State, but not that, so it's not that far away. But he's got some stuff that we ordered for him that he needs to come pick up. So,
Awesome. I'm sure your laundry machine will be busy.
yes, of course.
Hopefully.
So, tell me more about Helpt and what you guys are doing to help the MSP industry.
Absolutely. So, Helpt is an outsourced help desk solution. I say it like that because I think that we really didn't know what an outsourced help desk was when we started Helpt. And as we've gotten into the community, we've realized what good looks like, and we've tried to adapt ourselves to that. Our focus is on customer experience. Our focus is on collaboration with our clients. Our focus is on really just delivering the highest level of service. We started the organization thinking that we were going to work in manufacturers organizations where we were going to be providing solutions for widgets. And we found very quickly as we learned more and more about the MSP space that outsourced help desk was a real thing. And now, it's our main focus.
Well, I don't know if you've seen a lot of my content, but I do have a very personal passion for customer experience and
Yeah.
believe that it is the number one differentiator for any service business, and which of course includes MSPs. And so to hear that you are bringing that type of customer experience to outsourced help desk, which has been around for a while, right? is really, I think, a game changer for that industry because so much of outsourced help desk traditionally is very mechanical. And
Mhm.
because it's very mechanical, it's usually not a great experience for the end user.
Yeah. Yeah. I I think that that's where we started the journey. Customer experience is key. It's foremost in our minds and everything that we do. And to hear that further reaffirms our goal, our vision. I think that really what we end up having is clients of ours that sign up with us, and they look at those older types of help desk and they say, wow, you're incredibly different from that. And we go, well, no, we're just delivering a service the way that it should be delivered. And that starts with customer experience.
And see, that's where I think a lot of new businesses, new vendors kind of find their niche is instead of doing things the way they've always been done, they find new ways to do them that people actually want because the old ways really don't work well. So, what are some of the things that Helpt is doing to make that customer experience better?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think that I'm sure that all of the people watching, or a majority of the people watching, are thinking, outsource help desk, they stink. The tier one guys know nothing. Never, like, things never actually get taken care of. And I think that when we really got started in the space, we took that to heart. And so a few of our main focuses are, of course, that customer experience, but also the constant communication and collaboration with the antiquated help desk stylings or the way it was done. You might put something out there for that help desk to work on. And I always liken it to like a conveyor belt. They go to the conveyor belt, they see that there's a ticket for them to work, they pick it up off the conveyor belt, they look at it, they say, ooh, maybe I can't do this. I don't have the access I need, or not quite sure what's going on here. And they put it right back on that conveyor belt and off it goes to you. That whole process takes potentially hours and hours of time. And so what we do at Helpt is we really focus on the collaboration and the communication in real time. So if we get something that comes into our conveyor belt, we're going to take a look at it. And if it's something that maybe we can't do because we don't have that access, we're going to hop onto Teams. We're going to hop into Slack. We're going to communicate with our clients and say, hey, this is what's needed. Here's all the information that you're going to need to be able to make a decision on this. But we don't have access right now. Do you want us to have access so we can help with these in the future? Or is this something that you want us to send your way with, those details? And I think that constant communication just changes everything.
So, instead of a traditional outsourced help desk environment where they would just throw it into the black hole called escalations, you guys are actually doing much more on a collaborative basis to work with the MSP rather than just process, like I said, mechanically.
Yeah, exactly.
Those tickets.
We call them light escalations, and I think a lot of people use that same term. It's a popping up over the cubicle, the proverbial cubicle, and looking over and saying, hey, what do we need to do on this one? We're not quite sure. And instead of it being like, hey, I'm just going to throw this over the wall and run away, we have that opportunity to have the communication with our clients and learn for the future. I always say that hiring Helpt is like hiring an agent. It's just that we're a bunch of agents that can cover a whole bunch more time.
So when I owned my MSP, we used to call those ticket grenades.
That's it. I like that. Yeah, fold a pin and.
Yep. Yeah. Now you guys call your help desk agents helpsters. I think that's great. And I usually when people come up with terms like that, it means that they've done it so they can create a certain culture around their teams. What are you guys doing with your teams and your helpsters to kind of create a culture of that better experience?
Oh, I love that. I think one of the things that we really focus on is growth. It's really easy to say, hey, a tier one agent doesn't do a great job at X, Y, or Z. But it's really hard to say, hey, why is that tier one agent not doing a great job at X, Y, or Z? And I think that with human nature, we all want to see a path to that growth. And I think that that will motivate us to potentially do things a little bit different. And for us, for our helpsters, that's a big focus for us. We want to take people that have the technical capability and then bring them to another level, and then bring them to another level after that. And by, of course, being friendly and fun within our remote workforce, in addition to that, we're always showing the possible steps to grow in your career. And I think that that motivates folks to excel.
And that is so important, because there is kind of this tendency to get a ticket and move it along as quickly as possible. But if they're really enjoying what they're doing and there's that learning aspect to it,
Mm-hmm.
they really are more motivated to engage more, I guess is what I would call it. Is that what you're finding?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're in Slack. I know we hiss. We're not an M365 shop. We're not on Teams, but in Slack on a regular basis, we've got that line of communication open within our agents. And so it's not that it's competitive; it's that it's complementary. Hey, I'm looking at this ticket. This is what I'm thinking about. Maybe just a little bit of chat, or we just heard this from this client. Let's disseminate that to everybody else, and it becomes this real core of interactions that is just lifting everybody up. You could probably sit down in our Slack and learn more in reading that in a couple of days than working in an MSP for a little bit.
Yeah, and by the way, I actually prefer Slack to Teams. So just to put that out there. Now, when you're working with MSPs, because I kind of see that in my eyes, outsourced help desk really helps two types of MSPs. The ones that are growing fast and can't hire fast enough to scale to match what their sales team is doing, which is a great problem, by the way, but that's a use case. And then the other use case I see is the MSP that's intentionally trying to stay small, but still wants to grow a little bit and wants to provide that superior customer experience like we were talking about to their clients. Because a one-man shop, even a 2 or 3-man shop, cannot support 24/7. It's really impossible. And so I see that as kind of the second use case. Is there something I'm missing there, or did I describe it pretty well?
I think you described it pretty well. So you're saying, kind of additional coverage as one use case, and helping scale is another one.
Yes.
I think that pretty much covers it. We always talk about overflow. That 24/7 window is very, very difficult to cover. We can be there for that. And then we talk about, where the organization wants to go. Some of our clients come to us because, there's a difference between CapEx and OpEx, and mergers and acquisitions is a huge thing right now. And if you've got a whole bunch of technicians on your payroll, it looks a little different than if you have, some engagement with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there is a lot of M&A. You're right. And this is a way for an MSP to really have a lot of agility in what they're doing and a lot of flexibility in that way.
We've got clients that are that one-man bands, and then we've got clients that are 25, 50 technicians, and we have a handful of different tiers of service that we offer, and the goal is really to just kind of like fill the gaps. With some of those 50 technician companies, we're really just doing triage. We're grabbing the phones, we're grabbing the chats. With some of them, we're there, covering a window of time so that they don't have to have their technicians on call, or kind of stretching them a little bit thin. And so that's our goal, is to just kind of be that putty that covers the gap or the hole.
As long as it's not silly putty.
That's right.
That's right. So you mentioned multiple tiers.
Yeah.
So how do you divide up your tiers, and what are kind of the specialities that your different tiers can provide?
Within our agents or within our service offering?
Let's go with agents first, but I'm interested in the service offering as well.
Perfect. So we have, just like a regular help desk, we've got the 3 tiers, where we've got the level 1, who's going to be somebody that's ingesting a lot of the chats and the phone calls, and understanding what's going on and doing the troubleshooting. Because we have 3 tiers of service offerings, that'll make a little bit more sense in a second. And then we've got the second level, which is kind of available for those escalations, those things within our team to make sure that the issue gets resolved. And then beyond that, we've got somebody that's just kind of, overseeing that. We consider that like an engineer role or a level 3 in the help desk. And that person, covers a broader range of teammates, but can be there as a resource when needed.
Okay, so now let's talk about the service offerings, because I'm sure everybody's interested in that as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad you said now, because our first level of offering is really now. We call it Help Now. It's the idea that we're going to be your triage for phone calls. So, if you've got people calling in at all times of the day, we're going to be there to represent as you, grab that phone call, ask the right questions, apply, ITIL methodology to, the engagement, and then send that in to you. So, we're kind of loading your conveyor belt so that you don't have to be working from a distracted state or have to be available at Saturday at 2:00 in the morning if it's not something that's super important. Then the second level is where we're doing flow, as we like to call it, helped flow. The idea there is that we're doing the same thing. We're ingesting those calls, those chats, and we're doing the real base help desk stuff. Password resets. Hey, my printer's not printing. This thing's happening. My mouse is being funny, whatever it might be. And then we're resolving in that case through structured troubleshooting, and then sending in those details to our client. And then the third level, we kind of get silly with our names, but it's helped full. It's where we're just like an agent for you. Hire us. You're going to get a pod of folks. They're going to learn your systems, understand all of your different nuance, and then they're going to work as if they're in the cubicle over.
Awesome. So if an MSP is interested in doing this, what's the process for engaging Helpt?
Yeah. So I'd say the first thing is to reach out to us. We've got our website, gethelp.com. We've also got our main phone line, 949-996-3257. Once you tell us what you need, we'll talk to you about which of those 3 plans or offerings of ours might make the most sense. From there, we're going to do kind of a first step of an onboarding where we're going to further understand the needs and the requirements of you as an MSP. And then we're going to get everything set up in the background. We're going to end up, creating the queues. We're going to end up creating our own internal documentation. Then we're going to test everything. And then we're going to go live. I get in trouble when I say that can take as little as a couple of hours because we want to make sure we do everything right. But in reality, there's a couple things that we can do to kind of go fast.
Well, and that's important, and it sounds like you guys work with a lot of processes in place. Absolutely. Even though you've created this really good experience, this fun environment, this good culture, it's also built on top of processes that allow you to move efficiently.
Absolutely. I'm a huge process person. I think it's incredibly important, as we know, to not only say, hey, I'm a process person, but to have all the processes on paper, to be able to review and refine those on a regular basis, and to be able to see the inefficiencies so that we can fix them. That conveyor belt for us is very robust. Things are coming in and we're applying certain, things to those particular issues, and we're making sure that we're as efficient as possible. It's kind of tough because, customer experience is predicated on the speed at which we can do things. And that's our real goal, is to be fast.
So I know this is going to kind of put you on a little bit of a spot, so you may have to think about it for a second. But give me one example of just a time when you guys think you delivered extremely great customer experience to an MSP and one of their end user clients.
Oh, wow. Okay. That is a really good question. Extremely great customer experience. I'm going to be a rebel here, and I'm going to tell you about something that we weren't actually able to resolve. So what had happened was we were working with an MSP who was working with a very large healthcare system, and that healthcare system had a significant outage in one of the tools that they were using. What that meant was that there were probably hundreds of people that were calling the phone line saying, hey, I can't use this system that I need to use for my everyday work. And we applied some processes behind how we would kind of handle that issue, because it was something that we hadn't even talked to the client of ours about in the past. And so we, deployed our playbook. We made sure that all of the agents that were answering the phones knew exactly what to say about the issue. We knew how to redirect the people that were calling in. We set expectations that were based on, communication with our client. And ultimately, 3 or 4 hours later, the issue resolved itself. But we were quick to respond. We set expectations. We, kind of templated those expectations, and we made sure that we met them.
Yeah, and I think that points out a really great thing when it comes to experience, right? Experience is not the same as the solution,
Right.
because you can have a good solution and a really bad experience. And you can not have a solution and still have a really good experience. It's the way you handle it, not necessarily the outcome. Now, outcomes are already important, and the outcome in this was positive, even though you guys didn't solve it. But what was really more important to me is that the experience was good for the client and they weren't freaking out, because everybody who called in got an answer, and that answer kept them calm.
I love that. I'm a huge expectations person. If you tell me, hey, it's going to take 2 days to do a thing, fantastic. If it takes 2.5 days, I'm going to be upset. And I think we're all kind of, programmed that way these days.
Yep. Well, David, I really appreciate you coming on and providing this introduction to Helpt. I know we're going to be creating a lot more content together over the next year, and I'm really looking forward to it. So best of luck, and we'll be seeing you around the All Things MSP water cooler a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.